What's going on, everybody? Happy 2021. Hopefully you had a great new year. 2020 is behind us. That means we're going to play our best golf here in 2021. So let's start talking about how we can get better as we practice towards the start of that season, or if you're already playing, how we can continue to get better. Hey everybody, Scott Oden coming at you. We're back in the studio. Hopefully, again, you had a nice new year. We're excited for what we got coming up on the channel, so make sure you click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. Also, we're gonna be starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The golf season is coming for those that are coming out of the winter, or if you're already playing, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you need help on. What do you wanna be better at this year? Write that goal down, put it down, have some accountability for it. Leave a comment down below, let us know what you're trying to do. So today we're going to talk about angle of attack with irons. Now, we are going to do irons and wedges. We are going to save wedges for a different video because that is just such a big animal to tackle. So we will get to that. We're going to start trying to show you angle of attack. It starts to get a little bit more, scientific, what's going on, but I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible without getting too far into it, because you just don't need to know everything about it all to be able to play better golf. But there are a couple of important concepts, and I think if you work on your angle of attack and getting this number really, really consistent, especially with irons, especially with wedges, you can make the biggest difference in your game, because it's going to improve a lot of different areas in your game. So we'll talk about that. If you have questions, please leave them down in the comments below and we will get to them. But again, thanks everybody for watching, and let's get into the simulator. All right, so we're talking angle of attack with an iron. So today I'm gonna use a 7-iron to start, and that's kind of a good middle of the road iron. And I'll talk a little bit about the differences in other clubs, but 7-iron is gonna work pretty good for us talking about irons. We're talking angle of attack here. So that's this number right here on our board. 3.1 up is what it's saying right now, so you can see that. And that would be 3.1 up because it's positive. If we see a negative number, we were going to see a downward angle of attack. Now, we do typically want to see with an iron, not typically, with an iron, we want to see it be more of a downward angle of attack. That is because the ball is resting on the ground. When we have a ball resting on the ground, you have to get the center of mass of the club below the center of mass of the ball. So basically, simplest way to say that, get the leading edge, the bottom edge of the club to the bottom of the ball. You're going to get the ball to go into the air. That's our goal here. We're trying to get the ball into the air, so we want the club to travel downward into the golf ball. Now, here's a couple of things we're going to talk about. One of the biggest issues I actually see people have is they struggle with their angle of attack. They'll see that, one, they usually have a positive angle of attack with their iron, or two, they have a really, really inconsistent angle of attack. They might be down 10 on one, then down 1 on the next. If you're seeing that, you want that to be a little bit more consistent. That's going to be because your distances will be off. I'll explain that in just a second when we talk about one other concept here. But what is the biggest issue I see people struggle with, and why can't they get that consistent angle of attack? It's pretty much they typically think, all right, I've got to hit down on the golf ball, and so they actually try to hit down on it too much, and they think about getting like down under the ball. And so what happens is one of two things. One, they either hit behind it and then the club bounces back up into the ball, or they're coming in so far behind the ball, the club actually begins to rise before it goes back into the ball. So you don't want any of those to happen. You're going to be very, very poor iron player. You're going to make bad contact if you do that. So what do we want to be able to do to improve our angle of attack and make it down? So the biggest thing is you want to shift your concept of where the golf ball is in your stance. So if I have my trusty hula hoop here again, and if I were to just make my setup here and have the ball right here and have my wide driver stance with the ball really more forward in my stance, what we see is we start to catch the ball on the upward part of our swing arc. Well, if I made the same swing, but I just move the center of my stance or the ball in my stance back, now I'm going to catch the ball on the downward part of the arc. If I want to change my angle of attack, it can be just as simple as that. Okay, that's something that we can actually work on and see what goes on if we move our ball position. Let me give you an example of that as we go here. I'm going to hit a shot. I'm going to have it just kind of where I normally have the ball for a 7-iron. And I got negative 5.2. Man, that was way right, though. Ugh, that was ugly. Anyway, we're on angle of attack, though. We don't need to talk about my push fade there. All right, so we've got that out of the way. Hula hoop's gone now. So let's talk about what do we want to see from an angle of attack, okay? Here would be a good example of one. I just kind of took a little mini swing here, and I have an angle of attack of -2 down, okay? Of -2 down, where I'm hitting down, but I'm not smashing down on the ball. What I like to see is the longer the club gets, the closer to 0 that angle of attack gets. And if you can keep it fairly close to 0, what I usually tell people is like my 60 degree or my wedges, I try to keep it at around 5 down. And if I get to a point where my longer clubs are getting upwards of 5 down, what's probably happening is I'm getting a little bit too down on the ball, and I'm going to need to feel like I'm swinging more around my body. So if I can do that, I usually see that angle of attack get more level, okay? So you can see I love that one if I could do it, even though I pulled it, but again, not too worried about the direction. So -0.4, downward angle of attack, club's gonna get down to the bottom of the ball, and I'm doing it very level. So why am I so worried about what that angle of attack is? Scott, why don't I just want to hit down and get it downward at the ball? Here is why, okay? What happens is there's this idea of spin loft, okay? And that's the number that's actually represented right here. And what this is it's a combination of, one, the loft of your club at impact. So let's say that's the loft of my club when I'm hitting the ball. And then your angle of attack, which would be, in this case, down at the ball, okay? The wider and wider this gets, the more the ball is going to spin, and it typically is going to go higher, okay? So when you start hitting it way too high and having the ball spin too much, what starts to happen is you get really inconsistent on your distance, okay? You hear in my Sunday round videos, I'm always really happy when I hit the ball the right distance. That's usually because I've gotten a lot of things correct in my swing. If I miss left or right, that's fine. As long as I hit the ball the right distance, I've taken care of a lot of things. What do I see people do the most is, especially when people hit it really high, they start thinking, oh, I got to hit like down on the ball more. I got to go down on it. So what they do is they start to swing more down, but the loft in their club is still up. So then they've widened this gap, and this gap right here is called spin loft. Okay, the wider this gap gets, the more you're going to spin it. So the reason people then get some issues with, hey, I want to hit, I'm hitting too much loft on it then, is they think, oh, I'm adding too much loft, but in reality they're hitting too down, so then they start bringing the loft on their club down. Now they're hammering it into the ground. That's not going to work. And so you're going to have some issues there. That's why with the driver, we want to hit up on the ball, because your loft on your driver is like, 13, 14 at impact. It's 9 degrees or so static loft. But at impact, you're going to be like 12, 13 degrees. And if I can swing up at it like 6, now I'm in a straight line here, or more of a straight line, so I've got less spin going on. So it's an important idea to start to understand if I'm trying to control my distance, see that ball not go a bunch of different distances, see it go a bunch of different heights, is starting to understand that I want to actually get a negative angle attack, which a lot of times gets taken care of by just where the ball is positioned in my stance and where I'm kind of hitting the ground. And it's not what I actually do. I don't actually just need to slam down on the club to be able to create that negative angle attack. You can actually see I'm trying to almost feel very level and almost feel like I'm going, like a driver up on it to make my swing, and I still can get that angle of attack to be down, -2.8. I'd be pretty okay with that. I like that negative 0.4, but I don't think I could consistently do it. So I don't think I would actually try to get there. So that's the kind of what we're looking for with angle of attack, okay? Again, if you're somebody that struggles with it on your irons, stuff like that, take a look at your ball position first, see where it is, and then start trying to feel like you're swinging around your body more. That's going to give you a good angle of attack. That's a lot easier to maintain as opposed to somebody that is trying to hit down on it. You might achieve getting a negative angle of attack, but good luck making good contact and good luck doing it consistently. All right, so there's angle of attack with irons. Again, you got to hit down on it, but there's a way you do it. And I think what people will start to realize is they can get that downward hit without doing some of the crazy things that I've seen over my years of teaching, and that's what we want to help you get better at. So with that said, if you have questions about it, I know we get a little bit into it with it, make sure you leave a comment down below. We will get to it and we can address it in another video, or we can respond to you directly. All right, so thank you everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support of the channel. Again, leave your goal, write it down in the comments below. 2021, how are you going to get better? And if you have any questions about the video, also leave a comment down below. We will get to it and get you answered as fast as we possibly can. All right, thank you everybody. Looking forward to having you play your best golf in 2021, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.